Also end of the month almost. And hope you had a good month. Don and I are here as usual, Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Don, how's it going out there in glorious Denver?
It's going great. Excited for another Friday LinkTank Live. And we just continue to leverage this program to get better ourselves by the interactions that we're having, and are able then to turn it around and give you right from the front line, what's going on. We're in the field doing some really fantastic, innovative things, and we're getting results. And I think that's what we're here to help you with, is so you can get results doing the kind of things with our mindset mentality that you can acquire through the program. And at the bottom of the screen, we got a LinkTank program that's lights out. You got to check it out. Look at the website. In the meantime, we've got some fabulous information to share with you today. We know we've got limited time just like you, so we're going to make it as valuable as possible. Mike, why don't you share this topic of the day?
Topic of the day. So, this is what Don and I do. Let me share my screen. But just so you know, okay, why in the world do I listen to Don and Mike, these old timers? And because the old timers know the foundation of business, and this channel of LinkedIn is merely a new channel, but it's all based on the foundation of business. Now, the foundation of business is relationships. Don and I both know this. We've both been in the relationship business. This morning at 5:30 in the morning, I got on to this video. Where is this thing here? And we're going to play it right now because I want everyone to.
One question, an amazing lineup of CEO.
And if your customers don't know your brand when they enter the market, then it's already too late. So
that point right there, let me just backtrack it like a minute, because this was the point that that is so relevant, and it's what we talk about all the time. And we put it in archaic words that are like you got to be known before you're needed.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Ty Heath. She is director. She works for LinkedIn, but she's also a director at the #1 institute for marketing globally. That I would assume that Fortune 100 companies are paying like 100,000 or $1 million or 10 million to have them dial in their marketing. And so she's in a conversation with Gary Vaynerchuk about B2B.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she's with LinkedIn. So he starts with her with LinkedIn, how he loves LinkedIn. And then let's listen to what she says.
Right? We want people to be thinking about our brands. We want to be remembered. More often than not, the brand that's remembered is the brand that's bought. So marketers are actually in the memory business. And what B2B marketers can start thinking about a little bit more is, how do you link your brand to relevant buying situations? So in our B2B Institute research, we're a think tank. We work with leading academics and practitioners to investigate how marketers can create value. We work with this.
So Don, that's also huge, right? We talk about all the time creating value, right? We'll come back to that. Just pencil that one down.
Wonderful organization called the Ehrenberg Bass Institute, and they have this concept called category entry points. And these are when buyers enter the market. And so we want.
So I had to do research on that, category entry points, because I didn't know what that was. So at 5:30, I was doing some research on that. So basically, it's the same thing we talk about. And that is like we teach on LinkedIn, and we're thought leaders and we're educating. And what she's talking about, that she goes into a little more, is a 95-5 rule, that she just believes that either it's like a light switch. They're either on to buy or they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the next guys goes on, the guy that runs the CMO for MetLife, basically said, if you're marketing to people who switches off, you're just irrelevant, wasting time. So very cool points. Let's just go into this a little bit more.
When buyers enter the market, that our brands are the ones that come to mind. And if your customers don't know your brand when they enter the market, then it's already too late.
So that's crucial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we talk about this all the time. There's a gigantic network of buyers, potential buyers. Everyone's in potential, and then they become problem aware. I mean, we're using sort of our words, not the institution's words. We say problem aware, and basically, what she's saying, if you're not already known, it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty damn cool. So let's just keep going. This is why I was so excited this morning. I spent an hour and a half pulling all this stuff together. It was just sort of crazy, but go ahead.
So, I think going back to what you said about misconceptions, it's what business are we in? Memory. So that means investment in creativity.
So that's basically, she's saying that you got to create memory, meaning that, and we talk about it as more like drip marketing. It's front of mind awareness. You got to own. See that says super dad. You got to own the front of mind. So when they think about doing something different, there's only one person they call. So that was really cool. This next guy, and this Vaynerchuk is so funny because he's just like jamming with these people. These are huge people, and he's just like,
important concepts, for B2B marketers to embrace. I also love what Ty said about the funnel. This funnel needs to be set aside. What I've found is that, the most important thing is to get consideration, and consideration happens at the moment of need. And so
So the most important thing is to get consideration, and consideration happens in the moment of need.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically they didn't know each other. I mean, maybe they know each other, but he brought this person on. MetLife, pretty big company, and it's again, that you want to get consideration. He's using different words in the moment of need. So he goes on to even say something that is, the guy is very direct. I love this guy.
If you're not getting consideration at a moment of need, then you are irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not getting consideration at the moment of need, then you are irrelevant. So now we've got 2 interviews here done back to back with, very, 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 very smart people. And they're not saying anything different from what you and I have been talking about for the better part of a year. And I love it. And it's always so valuable to see how other people are framing it. And of course, you and I kind of know this intuitively from just repetition of 20, 30 years of business. These people have, gazillions of dollars and doing research, and we're all coming to the same conclusion. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think what it builds foundation for is everybody arrives at the same simple truth. Once you understand what works, it just also happens to be the good thing and the right thing to do, right? So when everybody's saying service everybody, be value client facing, overserve, do things for free, make people happy, it's because long term, that's what makes you memorable, right? It's the person who gave you a little something that you never expected and you never thought from them that nobody else who you expected some from didn't give you, right? And they stand out.
So this is the ironic part, all right, Don? You're going to love this. So in doing a shout out to Eriton Olaknil. He wants to connect with us. You just go ahead and message Don and I. Eriton, thank you. Thanks for the shout out. And John Jonas and Frank King. Gary Vaynerchuk gives people shout outs because it's part of building that goodwill and that being memorable. And he said you never know who someone knows or who they're going to lead you to. But here's the ironic thing. What you said is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we go back and we look at what Torona said that you got to be rememberable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like on the site that she mentioned, which is where is this? and I was on the Ehrenberg Bass, which is the self-proclaimed number one. You watch this. It's the number one in the world for brand management research.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great. They say it themselves, but it's such a piece of crap, their website, because they fail on everything they're talking about. They're not memorable because they don't. There's nothing here that's memorable. All they're trying to do is sell you shit. So there's no blog, who we are, about us, meet the team. It's all about them, right? Like awards. This is absolutely. It's just shocking to me. I mean, maybe I should just raise my rates and charge $10 million a year. But if you look at this, and hopefully no one from Edinburgh is going to yell at me, but look at this home. Your menu in your website is like it says everything about you, right? It's your menu. It's so home, who we are, awards and accolades. Does that say anything about what you do for the customer? No. About us? Well, certainly not. Meet the team. Who cares? Advisory boards, whatever. Adjunct professors, they're trying to overwhelm me with these fancy names. Independence policy. Who cares? Their annual reports, the honor roll, and then donate to them. Where in any place here is there anything that that is going to cause them to be memorable? Is going to cause them to earn any goodwill, like you're saying. So that's just on who we are. What we do, you can pay them to be a corporate sponsor on their site. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing, specialist research, right? So you finally get to what they do. Books, buy my book. They're so proud of how many people bought their book. I don't know where it is in here. It's like 110,000 people bought this book, but they don't give away a PDF, an ebook, any nuggets, anything to anyone that would want to be like, all right, well, I'm not at the bottom of the funnel. I'm at the top of the funnel. I want to learn a little bit about more and what their philosophy is, but there's nothing. I got to go get the ebook. There's no, I have to buy this. There's nothing. They don't have a blog. They have some podcasts, which I couldn't figure out because there's a bunch of different people. So I mean, to me, and this is it, corporate sponsorship and then news. Once again, in the media, it's all about them. The podcast
Mm-hmm.
is like the one thing I was like, oh, maybe I can find some information there. But it's like I couldn't figure it out because it's a bunch of all Sleeper Barba, Wark podcast, Talking Business, Black Shirts. I mean, I think wherever this guy gets to speak, they put that podcast up, which is more about this whole self-interest about this professor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's giving some value on some of these podcasts. I don't know. But like out of this gigantic company, the number one company in the world, the only thing they got for me is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, I screwed it up. I'm looking at 2022. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of this gigantic company, the number one people in the world, they've been invited as a guest on 8 podcasts. Like they don't have their own podcast, they don't have their own ebooks, they're not giving any information. It's just a complete polar opposite of everything they were sharing. And let me just give one other example that's on the flip side of this, which is a company that I'm in love with, and I'm in love with the guy that runs this company. It's called Drift. We use their videos. So look at this. Welcome to Drift. And then qualifying income leads faster, more efficiently. And then watch what's going to happen. Start chatting. Look at all this. Resources, Drift resources, books, reports, Drift Learning Center, training and certifications, podcasts, become an insider. Look at all the resources they have.
Mm-hmm.
And this is amazing, right? Get School for Marketing. You have it here. Learn this. I'm not even getting to where their blogs are because they have the most incredible blogs that are really amazing blogs. Inside Drift Sanchez, staff software, how to tell we use Drift, real-time dashboards. So isn't there 137 pages?
Mm-hmm.
Look, this one here. Anyway, so I don't want to go too overboard, but without hammering home a point, I don't think we really do what we want to talk about any justice. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll summarize what I was just saying, and then you kind of add your perspective. One, got to add value. And that's what they said. You got to add value. Okay, I didn't see that number one thing in the world adding any value. Two, you want to be relevant. Three, you want to be known before you're needed. Four, you got to be memorable. And if you're not memorable at the point of buy, then you're irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does that correlate to what you and I share and talk and teach?
Well, relevancy by itself defines the mission, right? Because everything you do is either relevant to you coming back or relevant to someone going out from you, right? If you send an irrelevant message, you're lost, right? If you get an irrelevant person or message, it's a waste of their time and your time. So what I see focusing on, and I think that there's a huge imbalance of people keep searching for more when they already have more than enough. And what I mean by that is I think a big category people really don't spend enough time in on LinkedIn is the messaging. I went back, and me and Mike went back to when we got started, right? And I sent a little something out there, and it was like, took a while, and then we got together. So what I decided to do is figuring out who I've been supporting all these years. What I learned is I was tagging 120 people a day for 2 years, every day. And these are the best of the best
Can
on
you?
LinkedIn.
I think I got to stop you. Just explain what that means, because I don't think everyone knows what that
Sure.
means and what you were doing, Don. Yeah, just explain it.
Yeah. So actually, I'll show it, right? So let me share my screen.
When you share it, I got to click a button on my side, but you let me know when you share it.
Okay. Okay, here it is.
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay, now you're.
Am I sharing now?
Yep.
Okay. So here's a lady who has 900,000 followers, right? Rachel Mitchell. And we've got so many conversations over the years. I mean, it goes forever. If you look at her thing, the full profile, she does documentaries. She's huge. She's out actually in Delray Beach. And she's got 900,000 followers.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And here's something else. I've got 300 just like her that I tagged over time. I mean, pretty significant people. And what I'm finding is at the time, I didn't have anything for them except me. And they had them, right? So we became friends, but when you've got a history of 15, 20 messages, you became memorable, right? Now I go back and say, I've got something that might fit you, or I've got something more importantly that we can work on, right? Nobody wants a proposition. Everybody wants an opportunity.
Oh, I like that. No one wants a proposition. Everyone wants an opportunity.
Yeah. So now when I say, hey, I've got a LinkTank show, would you like to participate? If I say I've got a LinkTank collaboration group, hey, it'd be a great way for $47 a month for us to see each other once in a while and learn from some of the best. So now it's about repurposing all these great connections, and they're all open for opportunities. And just like Gary Vee, they're always at a certain point helping other people with their opportunities. So they're a little bit more motivated in that category. So it's just a matter of you look at any of these people, and I can go through them. I've got, like I say, another 200 plus. That's all I did was support these people. I mean, here's a guy. I'll show you, Michael Galise. Kind of interesting. Well, actually, I'll just go through right here real quick. Messages, right? This lady's in France. I invited to our mastermind. Hope, she's at a convention. Here is a guy. Let me see. I'll have to look. But anyways, the point is.
So Don, tell me about. I think our audience would like to know this as well. The people that have like 900,000 followers, like what is she doing? Like what's her?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like what's her game? Like
well, I'll show you. Rachel. She's an executive producer, but she's got great content. And I'll show you. Here's the thing that we always look at, me and Mike, is not only here's her activity, right?
Yeah.
Here's her post. This was 6 hours ago, right?
Yeah.
She gets 1,200 likes, 186 comments, and 66 shares. This is 7 hours ago. 705 likes, 92 comments, 47 shares.
Wow.
So it just keeps going, and she just keeps pumping it out. She's got great presence. She was on, she's a big broadcaster. So the key is how would I get to be so conversational with it? I guarantee if I write her a message now, I'll get an answer today about anything, because I've come across as a friend, right? She knows when I contact her, it's something I want to share that's valuable. It's not I'm selling her anything.
Right.
And she looks me up the same way. So getting to your question, here's where the bigger value. See, one thing about LinkedIn, it's very nuanced. The deeper you get, the richer it gets, right? So you say, okay, well, Rachel, and Rachel can promote you and you can promote her, and that's great because Rachel does support what I do. And she's just one of, like I say, a few hundred. She's at the top tier. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people with 5,000, 10,000 connections, but they're active every day. Those are the people you want to join now. The other collateral value to Rachel is if I get her on a LinkTank or a LinkedIn Live, whatever it is, she's going to bring that audience to that LinkedIn event, right? So all of a sudden my public is 37,000. She's 900, and all of a sudden
here's a good idea. Let's get her on for next Friday's or next Tuesday's LinkTank and bring her on as a guest, like Gary Vaynerchuk did. And we'll use Restream, and she'll be able to put it out to her people, and then we'll have a conversation. I think what you can do, Don, is use this episode of LinkTank, and then take the link, the URL of this LinkTank replay, and give her a message and say, hey, you didn't even know this, but you were mentioned in the same episode as Gary Vaynerchuk and two of the top digital marketers in the world. And we did sort of a breakdown, and then we really started talking about you. I pulled up your bio. Take a look, and then this is kind of the movie about the movie. This is meta because she's going to watch this too. So, and then, let's give her a personal invite. Please come on next Friday and share your wisdom with our followers.
I think that's a great idea, and it just shows you how you can cobble together opportunities with opportunities. Because without a LinkTank show, there's nothing to invite her to. It's another Zoom, right? And the only benefit is now she's talking to me, I'm talking to her one-on-one, when she could be in front of my network, Mike's network, and her network, and she knows LinkedIn, right? So it's not like bringing an anthropologist to talk about jungle stuff, right? It's somebody who's relevant and would like to get the exposure. And, what I'll do is I'll start reaching out. I'll reach out to her. Great suggestion, right? If nothing, it's flattering. See, that's the beauty. Even a no here gets you a benefit because someone says, no, I'm really too busy, and that's possible, right? But someone will say, well, boy, they were kind enough to think about me. They put me on their show. They invited me to their show. Don just moved up 5 more spaces because maybe in 3 weeks he has another deal. And after a while,
Yeah.
I feel
And
guilty.
this goes back, to what we were talking about earlier about adding value, because it is, whether she accepts or not, it's a value add. And that's why we talk about with all of our clients about creating whatever the technical term from a marketing perspective is a lead magnet. But a lead magnet is simply a PDF that's the 5 steps to produce a better LinkedIn Live, and it's short and it's punchy and it has value, and you just give that stuff out. I've got 9 of them. Drift has 100 of them. And it's just, you just keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And it goes back to the original conversation that you want to own front of mind. You want to be memorable. And, their concept of you're either in a buy mode or off, switched on or off, the 95-5 rule. I don't buy into that 100%. Because Agora, the company, and Agora Financial, and you've heard me speak about this example for a very long time, they have a marketing concept called the big idea. And what these institutional CMOs are talking about is that you can't take the horse, you can't take the horse to the water and make him drink, because at an institutional level, it's the switch is on, I want to drink, or I don't. So that's partially true, because if you look at the 100 potential customers, 20% will never do anything. 20% is the low hanging fruit, and that 60% they're claiming just be there because 20% of them will go into the buy mode, and then 20% of them will go into the buy mode. But Agora says no. Agora says that those 60%, if you take them on a journey and you bring them through a process where you're educating them, you can actually, through education, create problem awareness. Because what they're talking about from an institutional standpoint is the switched on or is switched off. But if your solution's new, you have an enterprise solution that's new that they never heard of, then how could it be switched on? Because they don't know that there's a new thing that you do. So the only way, that's why I was listening and I was like, nah, love it. But I don't buy it, because particularly for new solutions, new enterprise solutions, there's not going to be a switch on. Maybe they're going to read a PR article, but that's not how you market. You got to get out there and tell your story, and then you got to basically talk about the things that work and don't work and educate like we talk about, and you're educating your market into the fact that they have a problem that they don't even know they have. Then that 60%, you start to move that cycle faster.
Well, and if everything at a certain point is quality and then quantity shows up, it all focuses on distribution, right? Being the smartest guy with nobody listening is not smart, right? But if you can say, okay, hey, if I can book a bigger arena every month, right? You start out at a bar and pretty soon you're at a stadium. And how are you going to get there? Well, you're going to be the opening act, maybe, right? And if you can get somebody to make you the opening act, you're going to have your own act real soon. So the point is collaboration. And that's why I'm so high on LinkedIn Live, is it's instant exposure, it's instant announcement, and you're so many levels ahead of the people who are throwing a post in there. Throwing a post in with 800 million people, you're going to get a factor of those 800 million people. But if you do a broadcast based on a subject, and only people who are interested in the medium, which is LinkedIn Live, are going to participate, and only people interested in the subject are going to participate. But the beauty of it is they participated before you reached out to them. They showed up for you. Now it's very easy to come back and remarket and say, thank you so much. Everything's about gratitude here. Everything's about getting into someone's best wishes. And I think to Mike's point, sometimes you have to measure your success on how far on the ladder of top of mind awareness you have now risen into people's minds you want to, right? Relative to other people who haven't done the hard work, haven't put in extra thought, haven't personalized it. We know for sure, just like you do, what works for you out there works for people like you, right? If you went to University of Michigan and someone says, hey, I just love the Wolverines. I've been a fan for 20 years. I see you went there. Boy, it's great to be a Wolverine. Right there, you're going to get pepped up, right? Because it took you into something personal, away from something business or something confrontational possibly. And then here it's up to you to figure out, when I do this, here's what I'm going to do next. You don't leave it out hanging. You don't say, now you got the ball, throw it. They're not. You got to keep throwing them 5 new balls before you get one old one back sometimes. But you know, the beauty of it is you're controlling the action, right? Yesterday, me and Mike had our collaboration group. I invited like 15 people that morning and 2 people showed up. And one of the gentlemen, Philip, was a great addition, right? If I wouldn't have invited, nobody would have showed up, right? That came as new. So what's it say? Every time you're not out there inviting people who you already know, you know, refreshing, coming back and say, hey, I got something for you. I'm thinking about you. I'm working for you. I'm still with you, right?
Yeah. So let's do this, Don. I want to do, you know, of course, I follow Gary Vaynerchuk. So we have Frank Molinar, Leo Canal, Partiv Shah, Leo Canal twice back at us, Danny Stefanek, Jim Britt, Dr. David Bradley, Garrett Wooten, Paul Kirch, Bill Crespo, Mark Kashke, Jessica Kriegel, who's crushing it. Oh my God, you want to mirror someone? Jessica is just crushing it. Bill Crespo, Jessica again, and Ian, Maddie Davis, Ian Shamandi, Chris Daigle, Dr. Daigle, Dana Thomas, Jed Morley, Justin Sardi, who is the master on LinkedIn, YouTube ads, Ty Crandall, who's a great guy that you have to follow for business credit. Yeah, just amazing. Scott Baradell, Rudy Tremino. Rudy's a great friend. He's up in the Queens and Brooklyn area, and he is like the guy, the go-to guy if you want a car up there. He's revolutionized leasing of cars, expensive cars. He watches out for you, the consumer. Scott Olford and Tim Marshall. Wow. And also one of my favorites, David Farron, who's really very involved with raising money and starting a fund and funding minority-owned businesses, because they don't really get a chance at really getting money as startups. So shout out to everybody. It's time for us to go, Don.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank everyone for this episode. If you liked it, share it. We're on Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m. And now you have to show up on a Tuesday or Friday to see if Don was able to close the deal.
Well, at least you'll hear the story. And
we got a story.
Yeah, and if nothing else, it'll be continuing. So yeah, I want to thank everybody. I think Mike came up with a brainstorm today, because one thing it illustrated is not only do we know our stuff, but we know people who even know as much or more that we're connected to. And by connecting with us, you're connecting with them and vice versa. So we're all expanding our circles together, right? So when anybody's circle gets bigger, everybody's circles get bigger. And that's something positive to take into the weekend with you. So thanks for joining. If you can, check out the website. And if you can't, share this with someone else. That'll be your admission for the next time. So anyways, thanks again. Keep smiling, and we'll be back on Tuesday.
LinkTank out.